that we find in between the villages, and they'll tell you how this came out and how it went, right? And we have internet connectivity headed by George. So basically, George, we can say is a grassroots engineer because he just got to learn this via, let me see what you're doing, let me see this how you do it, and now he's an engineer, can get to connect. And he runs a community-based organization over there, CM, community network at Nandema. Then we have Noshot. Noshot. Melvin get to tell you about that, Noshot Internet. So basically, this is just about advocating for the wellness of our digital gadgets. Like, for instance, we have a CM. How do we get to protect it? How do we get to engage the community to help us protect it? Because when you are a CM, it is not sure that it is you that will protect that, right? It is the community who will protect it. Let me say, for instance, you have placed a router somewhere. You don't need to go and guide it. Yeah, the community will guide it because they see the value. So number one thing before we do anything, let us show the community the value that we have. And then of course we have digital skill. So basically we engage youth. Online Africa is committed to empowering youth with digital skills and access to it. So number one thing that the youth that we've interacted with is number one. So they get access to digital skills and learn on how to become creative. That is on critical thinking. Then number next, they get access to mentorships and supporting career development, especially in ICT. Like right now, next week we'll be calling out for application for advanced classes. Yeah, that is now somebody can get now to venture into something that he likes. Because not each and every one of us, we are over here, but somebody doesn't like computer. It is natural. Process. For me, maybe I need to do business. I'm not into tech. It's nice. So what we do, access to mentorship, we give them opportunity. If you need to be a graphic designer, a developer, an entrepreneur, we give you that opportunity to explore. And as well, they get access to work and employment opportunities in the digital space. That's some of the things that we are working in partnership with Ajira to see how we can get to mitigate that. They become critical thinker with an entrepreneurship mindset. Like right now, for me, from my perspective, system is designed in a way that we are placed in a certain mindset. When you are young, you go to school. You either fail or pass. If you fail, maybe you repeat or wakusukume. But utakuwa maybe wase wako wanakuwa wanakuambia ulisukuma but wako na follow. So there is a way they tap into our mindset. So when we grow up, we go to school. You either fail or pass. Umepass, umekuja nje. Now, what you do with the life outside here, bado umepewa trap, right? You either obey or uende jail. So, that is the system. Aya, umeobey utaenda jail. Umekaa tu mtaa, umetulia, uko na tabia nzuri, then tena religion inakupata. You either obey ama uende hell. So, these are some of the systems that ziliekwa tu. Na either way zitainteract. Hata kama uendi church, hata kama unaenda church, utakuja ku realize there is a way they tap into your life. Siji kama, does it make sense? Does it? Okay. So with the internet, nobody needs to monitor you, right? Right now, let us say, for instance, I need to send Masi maybe 100,000. For instance, mimi natumia call. Nikitumia call in a day nikienda ku access cash, watanipatia maximum ya withdraw nini? Maybe 40,000. That is my maximum limit withdrawal. Yeah. Now, that my account, I have more than that. It's my money, I need to use it. Mbona wananilimit? I don't know, does it make sense when you're talking about technology? But with now the technology that you are trying to mitigate, I can send more than even 1 billion instant, instant, without any intermediaries. Yeah. So there's some of the things as young people, all we are in this space, we need to mitigate and see what we can do. So far so good. We've touched and impacted more than 600 lives directly. To mean we have maybe sat with them, talked with them, and of course impact them. That is number one. So 5 schools engage, which I believe Melvin and Martha will get to touch on. 170 ladies trained under I Know initiative. She'll get to speak on that. Then 200 students trained on basic ICT. 25 kids trained on programs. So this is something that we did like on programming with SPA Africa. Then 11 youths trained on digital skills. Then 40 youths trained as internet ambassadors. This we did with internet, no shut Africa in Turkana. So these are some of the tutorials that we did. So this is how we do it. So basically, we did our first graduation, that is Court 1 and 2 at Strathmore University. Why we do that in this setup is that just to give them that the mindset that in order for you to graduate in Strathmore, you doesn't need to maybe go into that system, right? Like right now, we are doing something with Moringa. You don't need to pay that much. You see, Moringa in partnership with Online Africa. You pitch an interest, then we see how we can prove over there. You see that? And that is now the sustainability that you're talking about. Because when you're out of there, then you have an impact. When you come back, in one way or the other, you must impact one person, right? Yeah. So, these are some of the things. So basically, that is how we partner, that is the local share, right? Yeah. So all this kind of work you can do it alone, yeah. So when you come in, then we are able to impact the community. Back to the technical sustainable communities. We have the internet, don't think that is number one thing. Yeah. Let us make sure that we protect our assets. Yeah. Whatever you find or whatever you've gained, make sure you protect it in a way it is protected. Like your phone, make sure it doesn't crack. Yeah. It's more of an asset. Yeah. And you can do something amazing with it. Right? So without further ado, I'll welcome any question or any concern. Then I'll give Martha an opportunity to present. Any questions? We are all good.
I've got a question. Actually, it's a contribution.
Yeah.
From the presentation, I'd maybe like to understand how you deal with the issue of sustainability, because I know there are operational costs that you incur to have the network up. So how do you deal with the sustainability, especially? I know this is a network that you are not going to shut down soon.
Yeah,
Your dreams that should be there even after you.
Yeah, sure.
So how are you going to sustain it for that long period of time, operational costs plus other costs? And number two, I would like to understand maybe how you deal with the challenges of digital rights inclusion. For instance, of late we've had issues to do with the free speech. We've had issues to do with the blockages of the internet. We had issues to do with the regulation. For instance, we are going to have government is thinking of having metered connections, which I know you've not implemented. It's a cost that is coming. There are people who are using this network who also know how to use the network, but they don't know how to protect themselves. For instance, if there's an attack, a cyber attack, or if there's somebody who can intrude the network and maybe is a fraudster, what would the impact of such?
Okay, great. So basically starting with sustainability. How are we going to sustain our network? Number one thing, there must be, when you give an internet, you must get to pay, right? That is number one. Just to ensure the sustainability. And when we are talking about the sustainability of gadgets, right?
Yeah.
So after we have a clear model of regulating, bringing up revenue, now we are trying to, when you talk about sustainability, that is now on the gadget. Or I'll say this. Number one thing as well in Africa, what we do is that we engage with the community, right?
Yeah.
Because sustainability is being problem where maybe a mast is broken, something is stolen, you know.
Yeah.
But one thing that we get to do as a community network at Nyandema, what we do, we bring that partnership with the community first. To mean we take them in a place that they are able to see the impact of whatever we are bringing. And now they have appreciated whatever we are doing. Now they have a mandate to help us protect our gadgets. I don't know, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, great. And then about the free speech blockage regulation, to talk about that. I think it was last week. They give that form of participation. 2025 bill. I don't know if you saw it somewhere.
Yeah, I saw it.
You saw it, right?
Yeah.
So those are some of the platforms that we need to say out our minds. Because these are some of the things, even if we say them over here, let us say something that is happening in Tanzania. Like now, they are not working on X. It is shut. You know? That is now a system thing. You know? But in order for us to get into the system, these are now some of the platforms that we need to engage. Like I believe as young people, we need to feel this form. Tell this is what I need to see, because you are given that opportunity to do what? To say what you want. The problem only comes where, as young people, we are given opportunity to contribute, and we don't contribute. You know?
Actually, that was my main concern. Most of the people who use these networks
It's young people.
are not really young. There are people who are not quite informed in terms of what you can say, the digital things.
Yeah, sure.
What they really basically know is that you set up a digital network, it is working for them. They really know how to use the network to get what they want done. That's basically what they know. But now, beyond that, there's something that comes like a policy, like that form you're talking about. How many of them can actually really be able to look at this network in deep and understand that this kind of policy is going to be harmful for us? This kind of policy is not going to be of value to us. How many are at that level? It needs something like an advocacy so that the people who are using these networks can come out, contribute when such policies are being developed, so that we stand against policies that would be harmful, like what we're seeing in Tanzania. When X is shut down, I can imagine how many people are losing income, because I know people there are managing social pages. Are they getting paid? People there are using X to promote their businesses. What happens to them? They are blacked out. So community networks would be very important if they were present to speak at that time when such policies are being made, at such policies when, at the time, sometimes back, we had issues with the internet. It was being shut down maybe to black out people. Community networks needs to come out and speak against such, because you're blacking out somebody who is speaking, but remember there's somebody who is missing income at that time. How do you balance the two? Somebody has invested, you blacking them out for some time. What are you doing?
Oh, great. So basically, these are some of the things that have been affecting this. Because I remember again the election. Remember, internet was shut. Telegram, even during the KCSE, they shut Telegram. You see some of the
What's
things.
up?
Yeah. Right now they are coming to regulate on how we give bandwidth.
Yeah.
To me, they need to see how much bandwidth we give, like we measure them. So these are some of the policies that we need to do that. And to answer that is that we have so I did mention No Shut Africa. So basically, No Shut Africa, we do advocacy on the policies on how sustainability through advocacy. In which we did that in Ghana, and I believe there is much much room to do that in more areas. But something that I love to say is that we are here, it starts with us. You know, now we have the knowledge. Like right now, if you've not filled that form, I think it is still free. Make sure that you fill it. Make sure that you give out your workshop. All right. Then about protecting the network users about cyber attacks. So when technology arises, there must be the bad side of it.
Risks.
Yeah, there must be risks, right? The dark web, it did intend. There is somebody who's not sleeping, just to make sure he tries to hack whatever new has come, right? Like right now, each and every person need to invest in Bitcoin. But before you invest, are you looking at the risks right now? Right now, we have that quantum computer. It's so fast, right? To me, it can generate a private key from your public key and so up all your money. So before knowing this, what are the mitigations that are in place? You see this. So before we get to interact with this thing, how are we going to protect our network users? So the way I said, number one thing, let us bring that information to them, right? And we are here, we are the first advocates about this, right? Because now we know the risks and we know the mitigations in place. Did I manage to answer all your questions?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Any other question?
Okay, when you talk about sustainability,
Yeah.
This is how resources try to meet our future needs.
Yeah, sure.
So how will go online
Mhm.
solve the problem of digital e-waste management?
Mhm. Well, right now we know that there is that the currents of climate change right now, the carbon credits. So there are some of the things that we just get to tap into as we go forward, But something that I'll say about climate change is that how we are going to dump our stuff, how we're going to make sure that we don't put the environment with our signals maybe to say such a thing. So there's something that we get to mitigate in place and see how it will work. Because sustainability is not a one thing, something that involves each and every. So when something comes up, we find a way to see how we can staircase through that, right? Yeah. Any other question before I give it to Martha?
My name is Lawrence. I give the outreach and membership for ISO.
Okay, great.
My question was for the community network in Migori.
Yeah, no problem.
If you could just share with us or share with me how you are working with the local community, local leadership, just to help the digitization and some of the challenges you have faced and how you have gone about addressing them.
Oh, great. So just to mention on that, because I know Martha will touch on that. So how we get to interact with the leaders over there is that now one thing that we've done, which is a plus for us, we have a physical ICT hub, we have a gateway and build, and that is number one thing to do with the trust of the community. That is number one thing, And the second thing is to bring the data affordable network, internet access, which they appreciate, right? Which is a plus. Because for me, I believe trusting the community will help us attain these technical sustainable communities. Because it is them that will first protect our assets. Yeah. So I believe Martha will touch on that. Did that help?
Yes, maybe just some of the challenges, or I don't know if Mark is also going to touch.
Yeah, sure, she will. So number one challenge that is over there that the cutoffs of power, like power is off, power is on. So that's how I think she touched on that. So any last question before I get to continue? All of us are good. So we just welcome Martha, and before we welcome Martha, I believe you get to clap for me. And I'll choose somebody to do. Can I use it? Yeah, please.
Okay, that was a good presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Where do we have five? Let us do five rainbows. Tunaanza na 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, people mama one, okay?
Yeah.
And 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Okay, thank you. So, Martha, welcome.
Sorry. Good morning once more. So my name is Lady Martha. I lead a certain initiative called I Know Initiative, which I'm going to touch on that. So before I touch on that, I have a video that I'm going to present it to you so that you can understand further what we are doing so that I can start my presentation. Young women face various problems, limited access to education, technology, and economic opportunity makes their lives challenging. This is the story of how transforming lives through digital literacy and entrepreneurship training. Meet Frida, a 25-year-old mother of four, a beneficiary of Kainoa Initiative. Her day begins before sunrise. Juggling farm, house chores, childcare, and flatware. Kwa majina ni Frida Oremo. I'm 26 years old. Mimi ni bibi. Mimi ni mama wa watoto wanne. So niko shule Ainoa. Kiamka asubuhi natayarisha watoto waende shule. Naamka kama saa 11.
naangalia saa niende darasa nisichelewe. So si rahisi kwangu sana, lakini najitahidi juu watoto wangu wapate maisha mazuri. Hata hiyo class mtoto wangu ameshaanza kufurahia, eti mama, siku hizi umechange, ukirudi kitabu sijui unaniambia siku hizi unajua kufanya vitu nzuri, sikuwa unajua. Hata uko shuleni tunafurahia juu wengine wanatuambia siku hizi mama yako amechange. Sasa unafurahia. Hata msichana wangu mkubwa anasema mama, mimi nikimaliza shule nitajitahidi nimalize shule hata mimi nifanye kompyuta. So ndio maana najituma nijue pia mimi, Mungu akinijalia nikishajua, najua atanipatia mahali mimi pia nikuwe mwalimu ama nifanye kazi hapo.
Frida's life revolves around her children and the farm. Despite the hardship, she dreams of a brighter future. Through the Hainua initiative, Frida is gaining valuable digital skills that are opening new doors for her. Every morning at the break of dawn, Zubrada Anyango, a 22-year-old fashion designer, starts her day with a sense of purpose and determination.
Plus, I know her. Inanisaidia hapa sai nikitengeneza fashion, naweza ipost online huko TikTok, Facebook, afu watu wengi wanaona. I think hizo skills ziko better.
In her community, Zubrada finds strength and motivation. Support from her neighbors is a cornerstone of her recipe. At the Anora initiative, Zubrada's entrepreneurial spirit is nurtured. Here, she not only learned technical skills, but also discovered the positive within a successful fashion business.
Nashaviona ninakuja deki na organ in the class. In the class, getting and motivating the advices in Pianga, and then we'll go together. Hawa wasichana tukifunza nafurahia. Haya life imezidi kabisa because unapata hapo nyuma yani nilikuwa agile, lakini sasa hivi naweza wahi kufanya nataka ndio niende class. Then kama back time kwa natulia tu kuna kuwa hivi sana. In future tena fulani kuwe na kazi yangu pia nikiwa kwa class, yani niko kwa class lakini nikiwa kwa business pia nafanya venye niko kwa business sasa. Because back days back sikuwa naweza jua kutype kwa kushika kompyuta sasa zimenisaidia. And then kuna skills zile sikuwa naweza najua kwa kompyuta. Lazima mimi wasichana kupata yeyote unaweza kukuta wajoin na ainuka kwa sababu ni poa na inasaidia wasichana.
Despite the need for digital literacy, Rebecca perceives the Anora initiative not just about digital literacy, but more of a package that fosters entrepreneurship and self-reliance among young women. She juggles her normal day by selling chips and attending the classes that she believes has opened her mind as a business leader. Celine, a 17-year-old mother, balances her studies with motherhood. Her determination is inspiring. Family support is crucial for Celine. They help her manage her responsibilities so she can focus on the progress. Together, these young ladies are redefining their futures and setting a powerful example for their community. Anora initiative is more than a training program. It's a catalyst for change. empowering young mothers to transform their lives. Their stories are a testament to the power of resilience, determination, and has developed. I hope by now we understand what Hainoa Initiative is actually doing and all about. So Hainoa Initiative is a Gone Africa program that focuses on gender-specific women. So you talk about gender inclusion and all that. So this program is actually one of them. So Hainoa Initiative, we are empowering young women, specific in rural and marginalized communities, so that to take a step towards using technology to try to create impact in the society. So we create an environment which enables these women to co-create, co-design, in order for them to become like local tech innovators in future. So why are we doing this? Because when you look at tech spaces, specific, I say tech spaces, these ladies, they don't have that power to lead into tech spaces. You find when you tell a lady, do you want to become an engineer? They say no. Those becoming an engineer, becoming a data analyst, becoming a software developer, it's only for boys or men. It's not for women or ladies like me. So that's why we came up with this program, so that we can empower these ladies to take front space. As I always use this, the phrase front space in the office. So you take lead in order for them when how we alikuwa amesema that women are the lead. When you visit these houses, women are the lead. So I believe that when you empower a lady, you empower like the whole community, because a lady will never forget his or her own child, not a kid. But when you empower these ladies with these skills, they will never forget where they came from, but they will continue empowering more and more. So the big why we started Hainoa Initiative, many rural areas, especially marginalized communities, these ladies don't get these spaces like Hainoa. It's not like, I'll say like in Nairobi, where you can get this program, where you can get these opportunities. When you look at these rural areas, you'll find, for example, an example of Celine. She's only 17 and she's a mother. She's a mother of one. And Celine didn't manage to finish her study. And how can we help Celine in order for her to get opportunities like this? That is why we come up with Hainoa Initiative. Celine is 17 years old. She didn't manage to finish her studies, and then alidanganywa, kudanganywa akapata mtoto. Right now, mwenye alimpatia huyo mtoto, the man who gave her that kid alikataa huyo mtoto. Now Celine anaishi kwa wazazi and all that. So you find that such kind of programs, they get to create opportunities for such people like Celine. Are we together, Makapo? Okay. So what we have achieved so far, we have managed to train 160 women, and then 65.9% it's actually their first time using a computer, and then 34.1% they've actually interact with computers basically in schools. Maybe those who manage to go to, I'll say, national schools and all that. Because when you look at rural areas, schools, they don't have that access of such kind of technology. They don't even have computer in school. So Alphonse Alifame mentioned earlier that we actually also start a school program, yeah, where we get to empower these people. So we start from there, from down coming up. So you find that these people are actually dropping out of schools because they don't even understand why they are there as them, you know. And then so the maana unapata like this 65.9%, most of them have never interacted with computer. Most of them even don't know what is a computer. Even when you mention to them the word computer, they will be so surprised. I remember the first time that we were actually doing community network in Nyatike, that is Migori. Most of them, they were like, "I'm what Illuminati," because we are bringing technology to their community. They're like, "Nyinyi ni watu wa Illuminati. Mbona mnatuambia hivi na hivi?" They're not used to using such kind of phone. They're using Katululu and all that. And then imagine now, you're coming up with such kind of a program, and then it's a woman who try to explain that, you know, I'm trying to bring this program into you so that it can shape you, it can model you, so that you can become like local tech innovators in future and all that. I'm bringing this program to you so that you understand such kind of opportunities we women get in those lead spaces and all that. But unapata, no, I don't want this opportunity. Wewe ni mtu Illuminati and go away. You know, such kind of challenges we are actually like passing through and all that. Because these people are primitive. They don't even understand such kind of thing. So now, when you have your language, the kind of language you speak to these people, you need now to sit down with them, understand them, know them. And then because number one thing, these people are your client. These people, you are the one that you're bringing this opportunity to. You need to understand them in another level that they will know that this thing is important compared to the kind of life that you are living and all that. Are we together? So we have empowered more than 170 girls, and I will say so far, those ladies which we have empowered, most of them didn't have that dream of, you know, I want to go to university, I want to go to campus, I want to pursue tech courses, I want to do courses in this and that and all that. You find that these ladies, some of them even drop out from school in class 6. Some of them drop out from school in Form 2. Some walifika Form 4. Now wakasema, I'm not going to continue with school. So for them, they believe that, you know, when you're done with Form 4, your parents look for you a husband or something. After finding a husband, you go, unaambiwa sijui nya, venye nani hapa anasema, you go to your man's village. For example, kama mimi ni Nyasiaya ama niko na, if I have a boyfriend from, I'll say, Migori, Nyatike, if I have a boyfriend from Nyatike, as a lady, you'll have to travel to Nyatike and get married to Nyatike. You can't get married in your home. So that is what they believe. They believe that after finishing Form 4, I'm supposed to go and get a husband. I'm not supposed to continue and do such kind of things. Such kind of things is a wastage of time. That is what they believe in. And then you find that, you know, I already have a kid. My kid also should also go through the life that I went through. So you find the cycle continues. And then you find that in rural areas, they're actually left behind when it comes to such kind of opportunities. So that we actually came up with this program so that we can empower them. After empowering them, we open a business for them so that they can see that our program is something nice. You know, umetufunza, umetufungulia biashara, unaonyesha mtu venye you can do a business. For those who are not into business, we actually get to connect them with such kind of opportunities kama venye hapa mention Moringa, Bitcoins opportunities and all that. So kwa wale wenye they actually understood what we were trying to bring into them. Some of them are like, I actually want to go to school. And you find that the higher percent of the ladies that we have trained, most of them this year walirudi shule. Walirudi shule na wakasema, I want to pursue a tech course And even some of them are like, I want to become like you. You know, you're so confident, you can stand in front of people and communicate and tell them this and this and that. Standing in front of people is not an easy thing. You will call someone to come and stand there, aongeleshe watu, someone will shake. You see, those are the kind of people that we are dealing in. So that when you come up with such kind of program, you get to empower, you need to, ni mtu mwenye amezoea such kind of a life, si mtu mwenye, you're actually bringing something new to them. So when you're trying to change someone's lifestyle, it's not something easy. It's not something easy. So we actually try. So in such kind of workshop, we actually, when you see actually the higher percent of ladies in kidogo in such kind of like workshop, and we want to bring more ladies. We want to bring more ladies in tech. Tumegawana namba hapo. So we have Lineto Bell. Lineto Bell used to think that technology is only for men. It's not for people like me. Because actually, ungemwambia ati, do you know that you can become a network engineer? So actually, me and Melvin usually climb that mast. Hapo juu, I think mbona picture. We climb that mast and we're like, a lady anapanda hiyo hapo juu. Mtaanguka, can you guys amuogopi and all that? And they're like, no, I can't risk my life in order for me to do such kind of a thing. But deep down, you're like, unapanda hiyo mast just to show them that you as a lady, you as a woman, you can do it. Don't be afraid. You can do it. You can climb that mast and you can connect people in your community with the internet. So when they see such kind of a thing, they're like, even the people in that community, they're actually afraid. They fear. They're like, these ladies are really empowered. They're not like our ladies. You know, a lady who can climb a mast and connect us to the internet is not just a normal lady. That is what they believe in. So, you know, when you do such kind of a thing, you're actually like showing a difference. You're showing a difference that they're not used to it. So they're like, wewe kama msichana anaweza panda. Unaona, so they call us wasichana wa Wi-Fi. Wasichana wa Wi-Fi wanaweza panda hiyo mast. Who are you? You can also do that. You as a lady, you can code. We have Grace here. Grace is actually a good example. Grace started our classes with zero skills. Hajaishika computer. Right now, Grace can testify to you guys that is actually a software developer. She can code. She can create her. She can create her web page. So unapata like such kind of opportunity. So you find that someone actually got a D+. I can't get that chance to get into university or campus and pursue maybe my course in network engineer, maybe my course in software development and all that. So such kind of opportunity, we take you the way you are. We don't choose. We show you that you can do it. And then one thing with technology is more of practical. Grassroots engineer, practical. Show me what to do. Ukiniambia chukua hii cable uweke hapa, I'm gonna do it. The next time nimekuja kesho, I won't forget the practical thing that you gave me. But when you look at most campuses, it's more of theory. You're being fed more of theory. So wewe unajua vizuri, nikienda kusomea mtihani, I'm gonna cram. After cramming, I'm gonna do that exam. That is it. Ujasaidia wa mtu, you haven't helped that person. But when you give practical example and all that, that person ameelewa kila kitu nye ulikuwa unafunza. So actually, Obel is actually one of the good example. Right now, Obel is actually into tech businesses, and she's thinking of opening another branch. She has been saving with us for the past last year until now. She has been saving with us, and we asked Obel, what do you think of doing your saving? And she wants to start another branch in Uruguay. So that's a great impact. And then tech is equals to power for girls. So we believe that when you give girls a Wi-Fi and skills, you give them wings. Sindo. And then digital inclusion is not just about internet, it's about opportunity. When you It's not about connecting people. For you as a network engineer, you might think that you may climb your mast, you may plan a signal and all that, but you don't know you have given someone an opportunity. And when you're most ladies, they spend a lot of for simu. Actually, I came here and then John was asking me, how many pictures have you taken? How many pictures have you taken? And the same question I'm gonna ask men, how many pictures have you taken? I'll say none. See no? So I'll say none because we ladies, we're all about like highlights, taking pictures, you want to post. And the moment that you're posting those pictures outside there, I'm online, someone is like, oh, what are you guys doing? You know, you're already creating an opportunity to that person. But for you, you've come to this workshop, umeka, umeandika, with the same knowledge, you'll go back to your house and chill. See, ladies, we have come here, we have taken pictures, cute places, and we have posted online. Unaona? And someone will be like, oh, this place is so cute. I want to know, where is it? And all that. You're already even marketing this place. And what kind of workshop you guys were you involved? I want to come to such kind of workshop. You're already marketing this. And that is how we get opportunities, by marketing ourselves, you know, branding ourselves more and more. So our challenges, so you asked about the challenges, the obstacles that we face. So number one challenges, we have a challenge of electricity, and electricity in rural area, I'll tell you, it's not reliable. Every single day, power lazima ipote. Every single day. Hadi umeamka asubuhi, umepata power, it's only lightning for 2 hours. After 2 hours, power imepotea. Inaweza potea actually at even for 5 days. That is power in rural area. So for those who knows rural areas, you will understand what I'm telling you. So we face the challenge of electricity. And how do we sustain ourselves when it comes to that? Well, another solution that we thought of is bringing like solar. Bringing solar to actually fill the gap of electricity and all that. So at least when you have a solar, it acts like a backup. So if you can sustain your client, because every time a power, if you're an SP in rural area, every time a power gets lost, you will receive phone calls. Not now, not every minute phone call. My internet is not working, and then most people in rural area, they use solar. They don't rely on power that much. So you as an ISP, you need to have a solar backup and all that. And then another challenges that we face is, I'll say, cultural norms. The first time that we get to Nyatike, we started a community network. We were called, we were from Illuminati, you know, so they don't even understand. They don't even understand what internet is. Actually, ukipanda hiyo mask, they call it a booster. That is a booster. Hiyo ni booster inatupatia nini? Inatupatia network. Unaona? So, these are cultural norms. They believe that ladies are not supposed to be taking like front seats. Unaona? They believe that ladies are meant to be the princess of the house. You're supposed to be looking cute for your man. You're supposed to be cooking for your kids. You're supposed to be doing house chores and all that. But you're not supposed to be standing in front of men, where men are. You're not supposed to be standing in front of men and giving kind of knowledge. Right now, I'm giving out. Unaona? So that is another challenge that we face. You find that maybe we were actually training another lady, na alikuja kachukuliwa. Aliambiwa to know you can't go to those classes. Nimekata. Why? Because ladies are not supposed to be getting such kind of opportunities. And that is the gap that we're trying to close. We want ladies to lead. Not only leading, but taking spaces in this technology stuff. Tumelewana. And then, what are people saying about us? You also talk about local youth leaders, like chief and all that. So they say that INOA proved that rural girls can thrive in tech when given a chance. We need more of this. Venye tu nilikuwa nimesema, you find that most people that we have trained, most of them have gone back to campus. They want to pursue these tech courses. So mtu anaona, oh my God, you made my child think about education is a priority. You made my kid to go back to school to learn. Mwenye nilikuwa na force aende shule. Mwenye hapo anataka shule. You made that kid to go back to school. Really, I know it's really it's really actually opening opportunities to these young ladies. And then we also have Melvin, digital trainer. The growth in confidence is the real impact. Tech is the tool, but the real transformation is within girls. The real transformation is within ladies. It's not only in men. When you give a lady a chance, it's like you have given a whole community an opportunity. So these ladies, they don't know how to forget their homes. So the same thing. Homes, our tech space is actually our home. When we are given that opportunity, we won't go back to where we were. We will actually try to thrive more and to grow into someone bigger and better. And then we have Vivian. She's actually 17 years. She used to think tech was for boys. Now she's actually teaching one of their siblings how to type. And then, so our future plans and vision, what are the future plans for INOA Initiative? INOA Initiative want to extend into 10 counties. Actually, we have ISPs from different places. We have from Siaya, we have from Finula, from different places. So we really want to come into your tech spaces where you guys are doing it, so that we can bring more ladies. We can bring more ladies into these tech spaces, because when you spread a news to one person, it will go and enhance and enhance. So maybe my call is for you guys is to at least maybe you have a program, ladies program, digital literacy program in your community network and all that. Let's bring more ladies into technology. Like right now in this workshop, we have few ladies. We need to see ladies taking these seats. Tumelewana. And then we also need to build more digital hub. In Nyatike, we have a digital hub. So we want to build digital hubs into these counties. Let's say, for example, Siaya, Ugunja, Busia, Garissa, and all that. Tumelewana. So you are actually our information takers to those people. And then connecting the dots, and that is why this forum matters. You as the network builder, the innovators, you make the signal possible, and then INOA brings the content and the community and the heart together. So for you actually bring the internet, yeah, right? You bring the internet to the community. So for the INOA initiative, we bring the content and we bring people together so that they can use this internet. Now we bring people together and all that. And I think I'm done. So in case you have a question, you can ask. Oh, okay.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a question. It can be a challenge, but maybe you haven't experienced it in your area.
Yeah.
We have our beloved MPs and politicians.
Yeah.
When they see an initiative like this one going around in their constituency, usually they like to come in and not in a group. Have you experienced that?
No, for us, we haven't experienced that, but it's actually something that we thought of. It might be a challenge into the community that we're dealing with, because when you see these politicians, when they see that the kind of initiative you guys are doing, they get to grab it, and then they take that opportunity to use it in their own political games. So it's something that we are consider of. Yeah.
I think before I commented what I want to say. I know our friends have resisted some kind of what you are mentioning. Actually, they fought them off because politicians don't come, but we don't do the intention.
Yeah.
And they can end up derailing. And the worst thing is that somebody can use public money in the name of your project without you knowing. We did something some years ago, but we ended up finding it in the county government record. That money, something we contributed ourselves, we were given first, they didn't bring even a single shilling. Unfortunately, we didn't realize immediately until when the auditor general produced the report to the county. Some 10 million was eaten using our name. And unfortunately, the governor had also gone. So there was no way we could follow up. But what I wanted to ask is, how can you positively influence ladies to develop interest? You know, we are in a world where there is competition.
Yeah.
And you've given an example of this space where there are more men than women. How do you begin forcing somebody to have interest in a certain thing?
Yeah.
And then you do it in a culturally sensitive way that it is not perceived to be very adversarial. It is us against them.
Exactly.
It is men against women. And you know, I'm a human rights advocate. And I keep on telling people, I'm also a gender because I'm a son of a woman. I'm a brother of ladies and I'm a father of girls.
Yeah.
So it should not be very adversarial in terms of approach to create space for ladies. You must develop interest in something. That is how you will end up benefiting from it.
Yeah.
But if you pull somebody, hiyo ni kama kufunga ng'ombe chini na kufungua mdomo.
Yeah, exactly.
Unailazimisha kukunywa maji. So maybe there could be a better or a softer approach to that. Yes.
Yeah, so we don't force them. Number one thing, we don't force them because I believe that when you force someone to do something, it won't happen the way you expect it to happen. So we actually go with those who have interest because, for example, we saw the video. We have Frida. She has interest in computer. Even the kids are asking, Mama, siku hizi unajua kutumia computer. You know, she has already created another interest to the kids. The kids now want to learn. They want to know computer and all that. And it's actually a challenge to us because maybe you find that you're not even getting like the higher percentage that you are expecting. So we came up with another idea. Let's start it from schools. Because number one thing, these people got skills from schools, and you find that in these schools they don't provide such kind of skills. So when you start uprooting, when you start making a kid grow from a younger seed to become something big, you know, you are making that person to have an interest on something. Because maybe this person had an interest of becoming a network engineer, and then akafika class 6, God ikakuwa shut off. This person had an interest of becoming an IT expert. Akafika class 8, God ikakuwa shut down. Unaona? But when you start from that, when you start putting a seed from chini to naimwagia maji mpaka ikuwe kubwa. So that is how we do it. We don't force them, you know. And then when it comes to culture, I believe that when you go to school and you give such kind of a talk to them or such of a skills, because you're dealing with primitives, you're not dealing with people who knows what you are actually saying or what you actually understand. So you need to bring this kid out. You know, I just call them like a kid. You need to bring them out. You won't force them, but you need to talk to them, you know, understand them, and tell them the importance of this. If someone has interest with that, well and good. If someone does not have interest in that, you don't force. but ataona whatever huo msichana mwingine mwenye alikuwa na go through our program amemaliza na akakuwa someone better, ata come back yeye mwenyewe. We can get phone calls. I actually applied some few months ago. Can I still get an opportunity to that? You see? So that is how we actually did it. I think I'll answer your question. Yeah.
Mother,
Yeah.
Karisa, very happy to invite you today again.
Thank you.
I think the first video, what was the name?
What?
The first video you played, the man who is now doing computing and all of that. So speaking Kiswahili still.
Yeah.
So I was very happy. Leo tunaongea Kiswahili. Hii kidogo nikaona Kizungu ikakuja ndani kwa bingu. My question was, just what Ms. has mentioned about doing all of this, but at the same time being culturally sensitive. So, for example, especially in the rural, I'll go in, so you'll go in, train these wife, mother, sister somewhere. They become empowered.
Yeah.
Then other people in the society, typically, for example, let me use the term men.
Yeah.
Wataona sasa, msichana wangu, bibi yangu, amata amebeba kiburi sasa. Now, lunch is cooked late, the kids don't have the mother, mwanamke, sorry to be very wrong,
Yeah.
but these are things that will happen in the rural.
Yeah, exactly.
Mwanamke sasa, amemea tembe. And now, yes, we have someone who's very empowered and they can use technology for gainful employment, sustainability, but she doesn't have a family. Now kids and the mother, Mandua, then for short, we get a meeting once, then the woman needs to figure out whether she wants to be a mom or she wants to be a Texas. And at times you can find that now affecting even programs like I know her, where the parts of the community feels like we are destabilizing those cultural norms, which can be, there are a lot of nuances there. It can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing, just it needs to be handled very carefully so that it's a win-win.
Yeah.
So, going back to your program, I don't know if you can share with us how you are addressing that, just to ensure that those fundamental cultural norms, which at times can be good, again at times can be bad. And also appreciating that it's a journey. We are not going to magically change people's perception on how to probably the mindset would have shifted and we can see more buy-in from the community, especially when you introduce aspects that are not culturally normal.
Yeah.
I hope it will.
Yeah, it's clear. So that's a good question. So how do we deal with cultural norms so that this woman, this wife, this mother, does not be disobedient to the husband or to the culture? Because I believe that we are empowering people from the village, and the village is full of cultural norms and all that. So for us, we also provide skills in life skills. So this, when you're telling me when it comes to culture, when it comes to homes and all that, we give out skills in life skills. So we don't teach them to be disobedient. We don't give you skills no mere payment. We give you skills for you to be empowered. So you to go and provide to your family, for you to respect your husband, respect your kid, respect your culture. Matter of fact, respect your culture. We don't give you these skills when you go kiburi. So that's why we come in with life skills. So how do we teach them to overcome such kind of things in life? Kama for example, we have a lady mwenye amepigwa na bwana amekuja class. These are nini, it's a gender-based cases and all that. So amepigwa na bwana. This is the person you need to empower. Huyu mtu akusikii alipigwa jana, utamsaidia aje? So you need to bring such kind of skills when it comes into your program, bring life skills, mentorship. You also connect them with also professional, also expert from such kind of skills. And we also give out some numbers where they can reach out in case they're into abusive relationship and all that. Yeah, I think I've answered your question.
Yes, maybe just a follow-up. As part of your program, are you incorporating now the other genders, a way of them getting by, as much as the program is focused on the ladies? I'm trying to figure out a scenario. So I'll give some, it might not be appropriate. Salons.
Oh.
So you'll find certain salons now, they'll find a way of having a room where men can even feel comfortable, so that when you take your partner there or your daughter there, at a way, unapewa somewhere where you can feel you belong without being in the salon.
Yeah.
And it's one way salons are trying to ensure to basically have men support
their wives
all those salon days. So I'm just trying to see if you have something like that.
Yeah, we actually have something like that. So when we started I Know our initiative into rural area, we have men coming and complaining. They're like, why are you guys empowering only men? Why are you empowering only ladies? Why not men? You know, and then they were actually complaining a lot. And then we told them that, don't worry, we'll actually bring a program for you. So we actually do workshops for these men. So maybe in case we have like maybe graduation, we also graduate with these ladies. So they actually bring their men into, and then we get to talk to them and let them understand what we are dealing with their women. It's not for them to wakwe kiburi kwa nyumba. So najua mwanaume anaweza dhani unaenda huko fanya nini, ukuje uko unarudi nyumba, and men are feel disrespected because as men we believe that we are the power to the house, we are the voice of the house. So imagine your lady has the voice and you don't have the voice. So we are not training these ladies for them to have a voice towards, a power towards you. We are actually empowering these ladies to actually help you build up, come up with a good family, come up with something that you can appreciate in future. A wife that you can feel like this is the wife that I got married to. You know, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for the presentation. To ask whether there exists any infrastructure, let's say labs in that area, maybe in schools, primary schools, secondary and polytechnics. And have you partnered with them in terms of having a venue to deliver your programs?
Yeah, good question. So we've actually partnered with schools. And we recently started school programs in rural school, but most schools in the village, we don't have computer labs. So we are actually doing this so that we can introduce something called tech labs in school. And then after introducing tech labs in schools, you find that now we are bringing now that. So computer classes is actually a must in school. So you find that in the village and rural sector, they don't have those computer classes. So that I've never touched a computer. So actually when we are starting to do this program into schools, you find the impacts and also the positive toward the kid and all that. And then it's actually the school to come up with a school lab. And also maybe do some few, I'll say, few computers into their schools so that they can continue with their program so that it cannot collide or slide. Yeah.
I feel for you because as we are going, I think you'll be doing everything in the community. Soon I see you starting counseling classes. You will even start advising against drug abuse and alcoholism. There are two things. One, I would want to start with what you said last. I would really discourage you from starting computer labs in schools. I would advise you come up with your place and set up your own lab, but taking it to a school, I really would not advise you for that. Then point number two, I would want to say that if you want to follow everything in the community, you'll be biting too much. At the end of the day, you'll find yourself deviating from the initial goal, vision, and the mission that you had.
Yeah, exactly.
I would want to tell you to go back to your initial mission, vision, do it completely as you had planned it, then you can start growing from there slowly. Because a wife will come today complaining about the husband.
Exactly.
You will deal with the husband. They will come as a family complaining about children and the drugs. You will move from there, etc., etc. You will find yourself carrying the whole community and now not giving us internet.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one. So
Okay, what I mean is there are other people in society dealing with that. We have
Yeah.
other gender-based
teams,
violence groups, we have police stations, we have hospitals. They offer those other services. You can't be a school and everything in
Yeah,
society.
exactly. That's why we actually provide these numbers and we provide these people to them
Yeah.
so that we can't like manage and handle everything at once. You know, yeah.
Okay, I was trying to compare the Innova and Ajira platform, and learned that Innova first identifies and enter and inspire.
Yeah.
And how are you trying to maintain the future part of Innova? For instance, in the rural areas, we talk about scenarios where people are being taught ways to be empowered. So how are you monitoring the steps of those alumni? Are they catching up, or so that at least we can know the future?
Yeah. Okay.
Can I add a question to what he's saying?
Oh,
Regarding, have you done assessment on the digital penetration based on gender, so that you can answer together with what he's saying? Based now on your experience, and then from this space, people can begin thinking forward.
Yeah. So I'll actually answer you first. You asked about our alumni, if we are really doing follow-ups. So we are actually doing follow-up, and I'll say like a good percentage that are actually doing good. And then some other percentage, you cannot change like the whole community and all that. So kuna wenye wali get the concept, kuna wenye waku get the concept. We also have challenges, maybe venye tulikuwa tumesema, you start a business to this lady, maybe the lady is not business oriented. So ukipata mtu hayuko business oriented, you find that maybe she won't keep on with the business. No. But you find that those who actually went with the business and they're actually doing good and they're also saving with us, they want to grow. She wants actually to start a branch somewhere. And some also going back to school to take this career course. They want to become like career woman, and all that. And then, career education.
Digital penetration based on gender.
Based on gender. Yeah. So we actually did the assessments in rural schools and all that. And then when it comes to digital penetration, when it comes to gender, maybe like in future youth and all that, we are actually, it's like a kid, you look up to this kid to grow. And then actually grow, a certain level that you will leave this kid. You want to follow up with this kid. So after that, Tushawana Apo in a certain level that she can identify herself and all that. You give to her. You can follow up with this lady and all that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, guys.
So before that was great, Mother. So before she sits, we get to appreciate her. Melvin, can we just appreciate Mother?
Okay, so let's lead the. We'll have like 3 factorial clubs. So it goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Can we do it? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. So that is now the essence of the workshop. So it's more of engagement, right? Which is good. So something that I love to say is that when you're talking about taking sustainable communities, one of the ways that you can get to do that is to bring the knowledge to the community. Yeah. And who are we targeting? All the people. So just got something on Martha's presentation. Just a small thing is that when you look at the history of Africa, yeah, during the World War who are taken away of the country was men, right? And before that, homes were running, sindio? Who used to provide? Men. Right?
Yeah.
Now, after they were taken, women had to take control, sindio? And if you see this thing, women will always need us as good as we might appreciate, sindio? And there are some of the things that we need to really appreciate for women, sindio? Okay, so before we continue, I'd love us to just stretch, and of course we'll get back into it. So let us stand. Just let us stand. Find a place to stretch. And stand. Okay, then pray to do. Just try and pray to do. Pray to do.
Yeah, with Martha.
Okay.
Pray to do. Pray to do. So I need us to play again, Sawa?
Yeah.
So now, do you remember the game Caesar, Rock and Paper?
Yeah. Rock.
This is Rock, Caesar, then Paper. So this is Rock, this is Caesar, and this is Paper. So Rock crushes both Caesar and Paper, right?
Yes.
And then Caesar crushes Paper. And then Paper inabaki kukrashiwa. Sawa? Okay, sawa. So are you in pairs already?
Yeah.
Sawa?
Yeah.
So I need you to do something. Sawa? Ukicrash mtu mara tatu zikifuatana, yeah? Anakutumia 50.
For example.
Let's go.
I can say rock, paper, scissors.
Let us play around.
We take like this.
Hey, let us play.
Rock, paper, paper.
Ngoja.
And then you like put paper. Yeah.
Wait. Okay, so let us do this together. So tuna start. See, I'm going to play as judge. Let us do it together. Okay, so we start. Sawa. Mtu akikucrash mara tatu zikifuatana anakutumia 50.
You can maintain this.
1, 2, 3.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, is the one giving instructions?
You're giving instructions. Like rock, paper, scissors. You can say.
It's you guys now to see.
Rock, paper, scissors. So now we like rock, paper, scissors, so that yeah. We put it together at the same time. When I say rock, paper, scissors, rock, paper, scissors, at the same time. Put it at the same time. So I'm saying, okay, rock, paper, scissors, yeah. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors.
So nani amemanage kupata vitisho? Nani amecrash mwingine mara tatu hapo?
Mimi.
Akendai.
Yeah.
So let's come back. Okay, good. So I believe you are a bit fresh. So because we are talking about technical sustainability, so one of the things that we need to do is to engage the community, right? So one of the things that we need to do is to engage with the community and make sure that we take this knowledge and them. Because before even we talk about sustainability, we must tell them what to sustain.
Yeah.
So that is number one. So advocacy is key number one, right? And when you're talking about this, so tech is a bit large, yeah? With us as community networks, we are just giving access. We are more of a gate openers to this opportunity, right? Yes. And after giving them the access, what do we need to tell them? Yeah. So there's some of the things that we need to do. So without further ado, I welcome Maria to take us through drone. So she'll get to present on her drone presentation. Why drone? You get to know. Welcome, Maria.
And you can just use that. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marion Abade. I am a drone and artificial intelligence expert. When I talk about artificial intelligence, I have had an opportunity to work for Volkswagen. We all know that Volkswagen were known as these self-driven vehicles, right? So I was part of the quality team that was meant for designing the roads for these self-driven vehicles. So that is where I got my artificial intelligence expertise from. So it's my first time to join a GoOnline Africa webinar, and I'm happy to be here. And with the kind of things that I have seen, I would love to be part of it more and more. So I have seen a few people that I'm going to connect with, and I promise you the next one itaniona happen. Okay, so I'm just going to take you through drones in disaster and response in internet resilience. Basically drones in disaster management. So we also have, I have also been privileged to work with another NGO that is in conjunction with GoOnline Africa and Internet Society of Kenya, that is Help NGO. So vile tunaingia hapa katikati, vile Help NGO inaingia hapo katikati, we get to know better. Sawa sawa. So last year, we all remember kulikuwa na serious floods. Around April of last year, there was serious flood, and a number of areas in Kenya were affected, and a number of people. We had over 200 lives lost. We have over 410,000 families that were affected in one way or another. And Help NGO deployed specialists to focus on drone technology, internet resilience, and data processing. So I hope wote tunajua drones. Ama kuna mtu hajui? Tunaweza kuwa kuna mtu hajui. So drones, okay. Let me just present. You will forgive me. There is a reason I never wanted to present, but I'll have to right now.
Now as you prepare the presentation.
Yes.
Can I ask, or it's going to be part of the presentation?
You
Just
have a question?
a glimpse of the picture kidogo tu of what worked with that Volkswagen thing. It must be a very interesting thing. But special roads were supposed to be designed for the driverless cars. Is it part of that, or you can just give us a snapshot of what happened there, then you just come back to what you are presenting?
Okay.
Did it work?
That is a good question. So that was just part of the introduction of who Mariam is. Because I have not gotten an opportunity to present my AI expertise in this other side. So hiyo nilifanya tu na Volkswagen. Yes. If I got your question right, I don't think the artificial intelligence part will talk more about it here. Yeah, it was just part of my introduction. But I can still tell you more about it if you're interested after the presentation.
Okay, we can just proceed.
All right. So if you can see from this picture, these are the areas that were really affected by the floods. And what enabled us to take this aerial view is now the drone system. Sawa. Yeah, it is the drone that allowed us to take that aerial view and aerial picture of the areas that were affected in this month. So drone system is unmanned aerial vehicle. Unmanned in that it is a unmanned aerial vehicle in that it is unmanned aircraft system. It is just something like an aeroplane, but it doesn't have a pilot up on and it doesn't have passengers on board. However, it is controlled by a human being and remote. Okay? Yeah. So that is what, if you ask yourself, that is what a drone is. So like I said earlier, we had 410,000 plus families affected and over 291 lives lost. And Help NGO deployed specialists that did the entire work of mapping. Where 74 drone flights were taken and a total of 44.1 kilometers mapped. That is a total area that were mapped by the drones to know the areas that were really affected. So we all know that Kenya we have parts of Kenya that are really prone to such disasters. Kama kuna drought, it goes to the extremities. Kama kuna flood, same. So that is why we had to use drones at this particular time to get to picture areas that were really affected. We had even communities and villages that were submerged in water. We had people that had to be relocated from their areas because of the floods. And then we had 8 Starlink terminals for 63,000+ users. Now here on the Starlink, this is where now Help NGO came in, because we find that areas that we visited, we had the GoLine team go there, and now these 8 Starlinks were presented to GoLine by Help NGO. So that is where Help NGO came in. They presented the Starlinks in every area that we visited to map the mapped areas. So you see where internet is also coming in. Yes, the Starlinks that were given out from our team. So some of the villages that we visited were Guruman Village, Entasopia Health Center, and Polytechnic, and aerial maps were used were used for damage assessment and reconstruction. So these aerial maps all were done by drones. In Nairobi, we had areas like Ruai, Chokani, Njiru, and Dandora, areas along Nairobi River tributaries. So in Busia County, we had, specifically Budalangi, we had over 5,000 residents affected, loss of infrastructure, and then Red Cross was also part of the team, because we had people that were to be moved from their areas. So Red Cross was part of the team that was deployed. So we worked in conjunction with Red Cross, Help NGO, GoLine, and ISOC. Parts of Kisumu, we had affected lakeshore towns and rice fields. Places like Ahero were really affected. Or like I said earlier, we had 8 Starlink units deployed, supporting over 63,000 users in remote and flooded areas. Now, capacity building, we have trainings, we have programs that unfortunately I will not put them openly right now because there are things that are still in progress. Once I am given the go ahead that I can talk about the places like this, then I will definitely do that. But there are plans of training people from the rural areas, so that when we have something like this disastrous like floods or drought, then we can have people from the grassroots be able to do a few things. They don't have to depend on what wanatoka maybe Nairobi or elsewhere to go and help them there. So there are a few trainings that will be put in place. And then for the drone training, it's a little bit technical because for ground, kuna a lot of things with KCAA. There are areas that you're allowed to fly a drone, there are areas that you're not allowed, and then you have to be licensed to be able to fly a drone, become a 2 pilot. So this one, unfortunately, it cannot be done locally. The training cannot be done locally. Yes? You have a question? Yes.
At Strathmore, there is a drone training at BC.
Sorry?
At Strathmore, Isle of Africa.
Yes.
We have at BC drone pilot training.
Okay.
And actually, airports.
You said that one is in conjunction with Kenya Airports Authority, right? With the KCAA as well. But sasa kule nyumbani, let's say in Migori, Budalangi, Kakamega, sijui wapi, huko, there are a lot of things that we have to go through. You cannot just go there and train someone. Yeah, that is what I mean. You cannot just, you say something like the work Martha is doing. It is something that she can do very easily. She can go home, get a group of ladies who are interested in her training and all that, etc. And then she can just go ahead and do her thing. But now with the drone training, it has a lot of restrictions. So if you don't get, for us to maybe go and do something like that, we have a lot of paperwork and a lot of approvals that have to be done. So bado hatujafika hiyo kiwango. Like I said earlier, there's some things that I still cannot put in open right now because they're still work in progress. So once I'm given the go ahead that now you can market this or you can talk about this, then I'll openly put them out. Yes. Okay. Then data integration throughout the drone mapping process, we had over 100 plus GB shared by AWS. We had outputs like DEMS, 3D imagery, open data for AI, and all that. Then the partners we had in all this process, we had Red Cross, ISO, you can see Online Africa is there, is SDI, and then we used AWS for processing and data sharing. So the part of the things that we are allowed to train right now, ni vitu kama improved readiness. Like you can know that when we have intense rains, what is someone supposed to do? Ndio wasingoje mpaka hiyo mvua ifike, then they're affected, and then they have nowhere to go. They start calling on the government. So things like readiness and preparedness, those are the things that we do. And then empowering local agencies. Like we have a group, for example, kama huko nyumbani, we have chiefs. When we have something like these disasters and then someone runs to the chief for help, they're not supposed to dismiss them. So we're also trying to make also small so that the chief is empowered what they're supposed to do in case of any of these disasters. Now, in conclusion, we have talked so much about gender inclusion. We have very few ladies working with the drones who have learned drones or things to do with drones. So we need to encourage ladies to take up this course seriously. Kuna a lot of physics na nini zinaingia hapo ndani, lakini kuna mentality tunakuanga nayo, but tukisikia tu physics and then this is so difficult, I can't do it, especially for ladies. Kuna hata maths zingine unasoma question and then like, one of the professors walituambia, the moment you say even the idea that you had inatoroka inaenda. So we should not have that mentality that no, I can't fly a drone because of this and this. Instead, we should put ourselves and go for it. We should have a number of ladies in the drone system. So if you hear someone when anasema, I had something drone, so I want to be a drone pilot and all that, encourage them to do that. Because if you look in our communities, we are not only using drones for this disaster management. Siku hizi hata watu wa media wanatumia drones. Unapata mtu ameenda ku capture wedding, a funeral, and then there is an aerial view of everything that is happening. Hizo ni drones tu zinafanya. Unfortunately, hizo for these our cameras za tripod, they cannot use them for the aerial view. So we encourage ladies sana to go for it. Do not fear the physics, the whatever that is in there. Utafunzwa vile ulielewa CRE na biology na history is the same way tutaelewa vitu za drones. We have to be there, we have to be top when it comes to drones and drone operations. Oh, thank you. That is the end of my presentation. Any question in regards to drones? Ile AI, yes.
Just about regulation on the management of drones. Because I've seen an eagle kicking a drone. I've always thought that was something that it can use, but that is not the question. Just the law regulating the use of drones. Because there are a lot of data management, data sharing, information. With drones, somebody can even end up picking secretly, even filming somebody without knowledge.
Yes.
What kind of basic regulations are there for the use of drones? Maybe that have been set up by the Communication Authority or any other regulatory body.
Yes, we have regulatory bodies manned by KCAA that there is a system, I have just forgotten the name, but there is a system that is able to tell if someone is flying a drone in an area they're not allowed to. And then secondly, you must be licensed for you to use the drone. But there is a system. Yeah, drone.
So the moment you open the drone, you have to get a permit.
So you don't just operate it because it can fly.
Yeah, so the reason why we have that in place is because of what you have raised. Someone can take pictures or videos of things that they're not allowed without your permission. Yes, and the world that we live in, hata mtu akitumia face yangu for advertisement without my consent, hapo kuna case. Yes. Yeah. Any other question?
But how are security agencies allowed to use it? Because I know security agencies could have a different regulations from the civilians using it. Just the same way as police is supposed to can walk around with a gun and there's no problem. But if they start walking with a gun, there can be a problem.
Yes.
Even if I am a licensed gun owner. And there are some frameworks that guide the government officials, these security agencies.
Yes, there is. And secondly, the ones that are used by, for example, government, people in government and such, they are registered under specific serial numbers. So the moment it's flying somewhere, then they can see that there is this particular drone for this particular entity that is flying at a particular place. So it's a unique registration for that particular drone. Yes. Yes.
You said you're coming up with a program that is going to do training for drones.
No. Training a drone haiwezi fanywa just na anyone.
Let's say if you are getting necessary certifications now, then you can collaboration with these community networks and how we can.
Right now we are not allowed to. We are not allowed to. If anyone wants, what we will do is to facilitate. For example, someone from my home area is interested and want to do that. What we will do from our end is just to facilitate. But we cannot go home and train them via drones and all that. Yes. We are not authorized. Yes.
Classification of drones are they I'm asking from a layman's point of view.
Yes.
Are there some classification of drones? Maybe one that can fly around at night and take images, another one can only operate during the day and take images. Are there some classifications? I know it's a technical question, but
yes,
but
there,
you can have
there are classifications. And even the capability of the work they do. So there is classifications.
And how long it can stay on there in terms of battery power?
Yes, all that is there. Yes.
We do some of these things in the villages. We do security work. Young men are terrorizing the village and nobody can come out to let you know who they are. Unarusha tu kwa hewa. Unachukua tu picha. Unasema sasa tunamaliza wewe.
That is very valid. It's very valid. We have a lot of things going on, and then tuko na hiyo capability. We just have drones flying around.
Nobody will be stealing from others.
You know the person.
That is very, it makes sense.
Are you saying drone is the next big scale drone flying?
From my perspective, I would say yes. There are a lot of things that are coming up, and I know maybe something even better than drones will come up. But as I stand right now, I would say drone is one of the best digital eras that we are moving into. Just like AI, I think it's taking over almost everything. We even have situations where there is a way you just work with things and an operation can go on successfully. So just like AI is the next big thing, I would also I would stand and fight for drones and say this is something that I would like to delve in. Yes. So if something better than drones come, then mimi bado naweza taka kujua more about that thing that is better than drones. Yes.
In simple terms, or in just a sentence, who is allowed to have a drone, to own a drone?
You can go to school and learn more about drones. Okay, in Kenya, we have a lot of things going on. People will even get them through backdoor. But the process to, for example, if you buy token, the process of passing it in through Kenya is very hectic. You have to pass through KCAA. There is a serial number that they have to do. We had a situation last year in December where we had to send some drones back to China because we are processing registration and having them into the country. So a lot of things happen. People will have them, but for you, when a drone bila tashwishi na anyone, I would advise someone to just go through the training, and then once you're licensed, you can own a drone. Yes.
Okay, I think for your use case, your focus was on disaster mapping and all that.
Yes.
And I think someone here who mentioned about the training. So I don't know, have you considered the other use cases for drones? Like I know in Kenya when like during exam period, there's a challenge of delivering exams in some regions. And I know drones can be used to deliver even if there are use cases whereby they are used to deliver even medical aid or whatever. Are there use cases that you guys have explored for such, like delivery in hardship areas where transport is a problem, or they don't have infrastructure, so that drones can be used to in such kind of use cases?
Okay, thank you for that question. Now that's a good question. However, the group that I work with, the Help NGO, they only work as at now because they are not in Kenya. It is a group from Holland. They are not in Kenya. So as at now, the things that they've been dealing with are these extreme cases of drought and flood. But thinking of these other, like the one you have mentioned, we have not gone into that. Unless now this is an idea that we come up with and tell them, now can we include such and such a thing in whatever we are doing?
Because like flooding, the roads are impassable, so drones can be used to deliver.
Yes.
So that's an area that you can explore, so that, because during flood, there is no accessibility to some of those areas.
Yeah.
And some people, maybe they're marooned, so there's no way you can deliver aid or something. So I know there are cases whereby I've been part of a project where like drones are used to deliver things, packages and all that. So can you explore such a use case, or is it something that maybe in the pipeline? Like in areas whereby the roads are inaccessible, and now use drones rather than just taking images for mapping, disaster mapping. Now they provide real-time help to some of the areas.
That is something we can put into consideration, though right now we still didn't have that. Thank you for the idea. Yes.
Under data collection using a drone, how do you guys meet the privacy concern and ethical concern? Because maybe you are flying a drone and you want to take a video of me without my consent. How do you protect my privacy?
I'll ask my colleague to assist.
Because before flying in any area, you will have to take a permit. So, for example, like when you fly in Narita, you take a permit to fly in Narita. So, any person or anything in that area is allowed to be captured. Then the drone will only fly 500 meters above the sea, like all 500 meters above. So it can't capture like a person walking on unless you come lower than 500 meters.
Any other? Okay, silence means to remain. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for listening to me.
Thanks, Mariam, for such a wonderful presentation. So before we begin our presentation, you get to appreciate us here. Yeah. So we will appreciate that this way. So 1, 2, 3, then we jump. So 1, 2, 3, then we jump. So okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. So, just to welcome Rachel. So basically, we say about drone and COVID. How can we get to be involved, and how can we get to participate in the policy making? So, what we need to do is to learn on how we can get to integrate into this policy making, which Rachel
Hi everyone.
Hi.
My name is Rachel Shitanda. I'm the CTO for Upgrade CX, which is a tech company that does solutions AI integrated solution for customer experience, security, data labeling, data augmenting, training, and all those kind of things. I also serve as a board member for African ICT Alliance, which is based in Abuja. Apart from that, I also do a lot of policy things, which is in ICANN, ICANN BC, and now I'm a GNSO council nominee. So pray for me, I get the job. Yeah, apart from that, in the Kenyan context, I work as the chair of ICT Skillset Committee with the government, the Ministry of Labor and Social Services. So that's just a small introduction about me. So I'll be presenting something to do with the enabling policies and regulation for inclusive connectivity. As we know, apart from having a solution which is internet as a product, we also need regulation around it, which is some of the questions that were coming about: regulation of drones, regulations of the internet, regulation of the tech space, regulation of manufacturing, yeah, privacy, and those kind of things. So I sit in different forums, the Global Internet Forum for Counterterrorism, the ICANN, just to discuss things to do with policies around ICT and security. So we have to talk about the internet and why policy matters. So the internet is no longer a luxury for all of us. It's a necessity, and it's something that has been termed by the World Bank and the UN as one of the things that is a lifeline to many people. Yeah, I was speaking about connecting women to the internet, giving them skills specifically to improve their livelihood, not necessarily for them just to go on Facebook and chat and all those things, which is a good thing, yes, but then you find all these forums are bringing a lot of economic and a lot of sustainability in our society. So it's a lifeline, and we have more than over 2.6 billion people who are still offline globally. So the penetration of the internet has not been that extensive. We have tried as a nation, as the world, but we're still having more than 2.6 billion people who are not connected to the internet. So we need inclusive connectivity, which means we need something which is reliable, safe, and affordable. We are struggling a lot when it comes to affordability of the internet. So we are spending more than 2% of our income in buying internet. And also we have a lot of obstacles when it comes to policy regulations. So we still have those things where government are shutting down internet, where some, like the case of Tanzania, where you find something like Telegram, WhatsApp being shut down, or Kenya, and other countries, which is a sad story, but still we have those loopholes when it comes to governance. So what is the connectivity gap that is currently there? As you said, there's already 2.6 billion people who are not connected to the internet. Urban and rural access, there is a very big disparity. Even when you go to countries like Tanzania, when you just leave the city, the premise of the city, and you just move like less than 30 minutes or an hour from the city, you find a lot of issues to do with the quality of internet that you face or you'll be interacting with than when it's in the city. The cities have a lot of greenhouses. The ISPs are investing a lot around cities because I think of the cost of operation and also the population. Also, there is the women are 36% less likely to use mobile phones, as you have said, and other speakers before me. Women, maybe in the rural areas, most of them have kabambe. You find the husband has a very nice, even if it's not a very nice smartphone, but something they can access the internet, but the wife has a kabambe. Also, people with disability, they have issues to do with accessibility of the internet. One, the usability of a lot of spaces is not that friendly to people maybe who are blind, people who don't have, they have other limitations when it comes to their ability to perform live than the able build. So as I said, 1 GB of data is costing more than 2% of our incomes. In the sub-Saharan Africa, our internet is one of the most expensive internets in the world compared to other countries. So the low, medium income countries have a very expensive internet. So also there is barriers to inclusive connectivity. One, as I said, rural areas and people, places that are remote, ISPs are finding it hard to invest because, of course, it's a business, and most of them, they have to be in places where they can get return on investment. So if they go and invest maybe in Masai Mara, as we all know, Masai Mara, the internet there is a bit kaput. But then if you look at it realistically, an ASP like Safaricom cannot install a BTS site in the park. Even if there are people living within the park, it doesn't make economic sense and business sense to them. So there is that deficit between remote areas and urban areas. Also the high cost of access of digital devices. As I said, we also have limitations when it comes to devices. Our mobile phones are a bit more expensive than in other places because of taxes and tariffs. Our internet is already expensive, our voice is also expensive. There's also that digital literacy deficit within our context actually in Africa. It looks like we are very educated, but in real sense, when you go down to the ground and you go back to the villages, people still don't have knowledge of even the use of the internet. They don't even know how to access it. Yeah, so there's also the problem of policies that are a bit outdated and they don't make sense for us at this moment. So there is also policies now in infrastructure which are very key to enable the equitable access of internet and forward thinking. So we have 6 key policies or pillars of policy making. So one is a smart spectrum policy. We need to make the spectrum a bit more diverse. This is things that are controlled by the Communication Authority. Universal Service Fund. This is like the Universal Access Fund that I think a lot of African countries have access to this to enable connectivity. Right now, like Kenya is using it to digitize schools, hospitals, and all these things. Affordability and taxation. So there's that thing about having affordable internet, affordable devices, and also taxation brings a lot of things around making sense of why things are costing more expensive in Africa. Digital literacy and local content. So we have, I think like Kenya, we consume a lot of outward content. Like even if you look at what we are watching, it's a lot of outside content. So we need to develop a way that we'll be able to harness what we have as local content and also improve our digital literacy in the same space. Inclusive regulation, that is something to do with enabling all people in the society to have an equal place, which is women, children, men, and people living with disabilities. Collaboration and coherence. This is things that also you guys are doing, ISOC is doing, ICANN is doing, which is a lot of collaboration within the spaces just to also improve on the quality of policies that come up. So smart spectrum policy. So more on promoting affordable, flexible spectrum licensing. Licensing of spectrum is very expensive, and at times you find even people that really want to buy spectrum, they end up not really affording it. So there is that. There's a lot of limitation, which is also necessary in terms of policy making, because you can't have your airwaves just open to anyone. So there is that, but also there is need for a bit of flexibility so that they can improve on the local content. Enabling community networks. So there is need for policies that build community networks. As we all know, community networks are a bit more affordable. They open up a region economically, socially, and even improve the livelihood of people living there. So there is a lot of white spaces. I think this is a very controversial thing with the government. They safeguard and they protect these white spaces, the spectrum. So they don't want, it's like a gold, it's like a gold mine. It's very underutilized, but I think because of security concerns as well, so these spaces, these white spaces are very protected with a lot of government. They don't want them to be accessed. As I said, universal service funds like the Universal Access Fund that Kenya is also utilizing, a lot of African countries are utilizing in terms of building connectivities in schools, hospitals, colleges, police stations. They are doing a lot of this right now. I think, guys, ICTA and Ministry of ICT, they are doing a lot of this to connect schools, building backbone fiber to schools, to connect government hospital, government offices, courts, and all those kinds of things. So there is need for this to be highly invested on. So as I said, the underserved last mile communities and so communities. So if the internet goes to your hospital, means that the internet is also close to you. It goes to your school, So there is this which is also being something which is being utilized right now. As we talked about affordable taxation, one, as I said, our internet is expensive. It's, there's very few people that can afford to buy internet over 100 bob every day. And that I think is one of the most realistic internet you can buy within all the service providers to use in a day. So that is very expensive. If you look at it, by the end of the month, you've used around 3,000 shillings in the internet, and then maybe someone is earning 20,000. It doesn't really make economical sense. So there is need for improvement in taxation on devices, on also the internet as a product, that is the internet as a service. There's also need for considering the zero rating for critical digital content. There is taxation also that has been introduced. I agree we need to pay taxes, but then there is need for us to build this local content. We need to make it a bit more affordable for the people in these spaces. Digital literacy. This has been done a lot in Kenya. I think many players are in these spaces, trying to build the digital literacy from schools, from colleges, from initiative like I Know Her, So there is this need also for us to bring in technical skills and know-how from the early onset of children development. We shouldn't really concentrate a lot on grown-ups and forget that kids need this. And it's easier for you to start molding a skill in a kid from the early onset and developing even interest in computing, in internet governance, in networking at a very early age. So we still have a disparity. Like we find maybe public schools in Nairobi, they have computer labs, very many computers, a lot of donors bringing them computers, but then our schools in the village don't really have access to this kind of privilege. Inclusive regulation policies. We need to design policies that are inclusive and also bringing in many stakeholders, apart from technical personnel and also people in the law sector. We need to bring about even women, users of the internet, which is one thing that ICANN does a lot. It has different committees, users of the internet, resellers of the internet, business that use the internet, coming together to make policies in the internet space. So there is need for inclusive regulation. Collaboration, which is one thing that has been spoken a lot here. There is different players and they can bring in different strengths. If you bring different strength, then it makes it easier even for other people. For instance, now the drone a drone project was very successful because she had very good partners that could provide the internet for the drones to fly through. There were people maybe who could provide the funding just for the service to go through. The government could provide maybe cheaper licensing or no license or zero rates on the licensing just to enable the project maybe to go through. So there's need for that collaboration kind of initiative in an ICT space. So this is just a couple of examples that of places where USF have been used, like Rwanda, National Broadband, plus ICT schools. Rwanda is doing a very good job in terms of opening up this country to ICT spaces. And it's something that we should emulate. And I think if you're not very careful, like a country, we'll be losing business to Rwanda because their policies are very good in terms of how people to invest in ICT, startups, funding, you know. So a lot of people are going there because of the enabling environment, the business enabling environment. As I said, also there is the USF, apart from the BTS station, base station that are there, is also that last mile connectivity using backbone. In India, also there is women-led community network driving access to local communities. So some part of recommendation that I think we should think about when it comes to enabling environments is prioritizing on data-driven regulation. Like we can't just sit down and think, okay, let us put a regulation to curb on importation of funds. There needs to be data that will inform that decision. There needs to be insights that can drive a certain informed decision around policies in ICT space. There's need for cross-border policy alignment. This is like things that I say, like maybe collaboration with organizations like IGF, collaboration with the ICANN, collaboration with the UN and other stakeholders in the world. There's need also for investment of public-private community partnership. So government has a big muscle in terms of capacity. So it's easier for government to fund and also to drive some certain initiative. But of course, it's not one of their mandates. So it's good for them to do public and private partnership, enabling private partners that are doing it to scale. Use of blended financial model in infrastructure development. So if you know, constructing a BTS site is very expensive. So it cannot all be just something that should be placed as a burden to the ISPs or to the community networks. There's need for us also to have a way that the financial models are able to fund such and also maintain these sites. Design policy grounded on community feedback. As I said, having communities sit down, coming up with policy, giving feedback on already existing policies or drafted policies. I think the Ministry of ICT is trying that. I don't really know if they take back the feedback and do what the community wants, but it's a step. So these are the kind of some of the recommendations that I think we should have. So apart from that, what do we do as the people seated in this room? So we need to know that connectivity without inclusion is just a signal. So if I go and put a BTS site in Mandera and I don't include the people, I don't make it accessible, I don't inform the people the importance of connectivity, it's just a signal that will be there and not utilized. But connectivity with the right policy, that's the power. So if you have the right policy that will create employment, accessibility, inclusion, and build the culture around that spectrum, then that is power. And we know where the world is headed. connectivity is one of the biggest things that will be needed. Apart from that, we will be needing systems that are smart. If I have an AI system that cannot really connect to the internet or connect to the cloud, I have no power. There's nothing I can do with it. It will just be a system on my computer or a system in a machine with nothing. What policy shift? So what we need to reflect here is what policy shift could make the biggest difference in our context. Yeah. What do you think will be that thing that will be the game changer for our policy making and also improve our world? So that's just a close. I think I was really interested in what she says. I've been fortunate enough to work for different companies, and right now as I said, the company that I work with, all the solutions that we have, like most of the solutions that we have, they're more centered around AI and around creating meaningful insights around data. So yeah, I think one of the first projects that I did when I finished school was similar to hers, but that was more for Tesla labeling data for Tesla, and also training their models. So I think we all in this room, we are exposed to very many things, and we can all bring our minds together just to make this world a better place, and we can all contribute to something. So let us just think about participating in forums or in spaces where we can give inputs around regulation. I know techies don't like sitting around and talking a lot of things. So we sit down and then lawyers, they make decisions for us. So it's a very confusing affair because they don't really understand the text base. They just understand politics and writing policies, but they don't understand the impact per se and how to regulate ICT. So let's also make an effort to be in these forums, contribute in policy making. Yeah, thank you. Any questions? Oh, I almost started. Any questions? Yes.
I think in your last slide you mentioned about data-driven policy and involving communities. So I think, and this forum is the issue of sustainability. What would be your comments in terms of the role community networks play in providing that data? Like, if, for instance, if there is a policy towards empowering women in technology, there is no initiative we have data or have information that can provide this feedback in terms of policy. What would be your comments in terms of the role of the community networks and where they stand? You know, you say they need to be in these forums, but how can they be part of that policy shift in terms of the data-driven decisions or community feedback so that the policy will be effective? And I think when they're talking about the sustainable community networks, that's part of what they need to be engaged with.
Okay, I will give an example. I said I work also for ICANN, and one of the biggest things that ICANN does is regulate the internet, right? And also provide the domains that you get resolved to by other, yeah? So one of the things that they do, one, they have committees that people are members of, I think organization, individuals can take up. Apart from that, if you can't be in a position where you're a member, they have open forums where they post policy statements that are open for public review and comments. So maybe, I know her can be in those spaces where something that affects them is posted, maybe something to do with, at times even they give, I think, discounts to women-led or community-led companies to get maybe discounts on certain things. So if you're in those spaces, you're able to give your comments and it's recorded and it's acted upon. So that is just one of the things that I think they can work on it. Apart from that, they can be part of these communities. They can be part of ICANN, they can be part of, I said I'm part of ICANN. I don't think you can be part of everything, yeah? But maybe those things that really resonate with the organization. So like the Global Internet Forum for Counterterrorism, I think it's key because it's both in security and internet. And at times the things that they do a lot in terms of policies and what they work around is security, internet, children, women, exploitation, and those kind of things. So finding spaces that can suit your mission, because of course all of us work in different organizations have very different visions and missions of what we want. So those kind of forums will also be something they can put their input to. They can be like, we did an analysis in Kenya, we found that you try maybe to do this and this policy translates to this and this, but in our contents, this is the data, and we maybe we are in disagreement with this and this point, because a policy document is a big thing. And at times also it's just a policy statement. At times it's not very big, but if you go through it and you understand policy making, it's easy for you to make a comment. So those are very public, anyone can comment on them, organizations, governments, yeah, individuals, so it's very open. Anything else? I think I've answered it. Yeah? Anything else? Yes?
So from what you said in terms of like, from a technical perspective and policy, what do you think is the gap that's currently still there? In terms of, especially I'm from like a technical point of view. You're doing, I mean, in services, websites and all that. What do you think like technical people should do more? Is it come together and do more associations and talk more about this? Or is it maybe upskilling more, getting the opportunities and being some leaders in that? What do you think is?
I think one, we lack a lot of people involved in policy making. A lot of people that have engaged with around policy making are lawyers, yeah? They're the ones who do a lot of drafting of policies, and we know. But I also think African countries are not really involved in policy making, and we find this organization are open for anyone to join, as long as maybe you fit a certain criteria, of course. But then we are not in those spaces. A lot of people that are making policies on internet governance globally, there are people in the West and people in the East. So we are left to grapple and use, and also we don't comment and we don't give feedback on public comments sessions of these things. So we are left to work and also to take up things that we have not had part of it. We have not been part of it. Another thing I think techies also don't think policy making is something interesting. Of course, it's boring because there's a lot of documentation and all that. But it's important for us to be in those spaces so that we also have a voice. We also give an opinion about what I think about DNS. What do I think about the GNSO? What do I think about privacy policy? You might not be very technical around writing policies because there is a language they have, but then just you writing a comment, you're like, okay, the DNS, this and this that you're trying to implement in the DNS will not work in our context because of this and this. It will give them also another side of the coin. They'll be like, okay, let us go back and see, because the policy are not meant to infringe on anyone. They are meant to bring order. And at times we don't participate, and then when they implement it, we put a lot of noise. Even I've seen even in the Kenyan context, we don't participate in the policy making, maybe for Ministry of ICT or ICTA. But then when the policy is implemented and published, everyone throws their hands up but the policy was actually put for public comment. Very few people commented on it. Very few people had an interest on it, but then when it's published, so we need to be more proactive because these policies are going to, they govern how we work. Our spaces are around, we are not lawyers, but our spaces are governed and with a lot of laws because internet data as it is a very big risk in terms of security, in terms of crime. So there is the need for us also to put our inputs. Yeah, any other question? Yes.
How do you support women to participate in internet governance?
Oh, wow. Okay. So one thing I mentor a lot, because also me, I was mentored to understand the space and everything. I was more of a techie and thinking the only impact I can give in life in the tech space is creating very good solutions. But then I mentor a lot. I also provide this, spaces where I can give back. I participate in a lot of talks centered around, I'm not very specific on just women. I think I'm more of that generalist person. I like impacting people that need to be impacted, either men or women. I believe, okay, we are not equal because we are disadvantaged, but I think for in this specific aspect of policies, neither gender is doing very well in terms of participating in this. So there is need for women and also men to be part of the conversation. Apart from this, what else do I do to mentor women on policy? I try bringing up people that are interested because some people be like, oh, Rachel, what do you do in the ICANN? How do I get to participate in the forums? I'm like, okay, this is what we do. For a lot of techies, it's very boring. So they'll be they'll be excited in the first few days, and then they know there's a lot of meetings, there's a lot of writing, comments, and all those things. So it's a bit not very interesting, but it's necessary. So I think that's what I do. But I just think in this, Africa is doing very badly off. We don't participate in this thing. So either men or women, they need to be here. If you're a man, you impact a woman. If you're a woman, impact a man, or both. I think that's how it should be. Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's a good thing even you guys can take it up with your program. Okay. I don't know if there's any other question. Thank you guys.
So let's do that in another way. So we do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, then we do it. So. Okay, let's go 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'll request you all to stand. You can go through the door, we take like when you come back. So. So we can just get you the place that you get the first
I think I had one of my mentors Two of my mentors. One is the CEO for the society, Society of Kenya. The other one, she's working for the World Wide Web. Her name is Kathy Nadella. She's a lot of spaces. Because I was really interested because she's a lady and also the other guy is a lady. That's the other one. The other guy is an AI engineer. And us is more just a general technician. So she.
There's no problem.
Yeah.
Nani's wife, Sunny.
Who? You know over there? Kathy. Yeah. So she's one of my mentors. Oh.
Mbona utafungua washroom manezi? Alfred, mbona utafungua washroom? Sini hii hapa mani gani? Bisi ni washroom. Hiyo uko juu restaurant. Oh, okay.
We should not maybe not define the moon and one
Ile interview ya summit kutumara.
ile siku kile because
Hata kuko na kelele. Tunafanya fair question. Kuna hizo speaker.
yeah and got the questions so yeah
You can share if you did alafu wote.
sawa by this is ninge anakuwa tuaulize
Haya. Amekaza wewe.
Kwani nadhani sifanyi? Fanya. Nataka niende washroom. Basi nikaanze. Lazima watoto wamefika. Kila mtu. Hapa